Perfect. Okay, so let's start. First of all, thank you, Samira, so much for participating here and sharing your experience with us. We still have more projects to, implement, more milestones to achieve. So I'm really excited that you are with us. And let's start, Jocelyn. So first of all, hi, how are you?
Hi, Nina. I'm good. How are you?
Perfect. I'm doing good. I'm really, really excited because this is my first time participating in the summit. So thank you everyone for joining, and you especially that we are having to have this session today. I will do a really brief summary of the agenda that we have today. Is that we are going to talk about the background of your background at the Paystack company in general, and then I would like to review together with you the challenges that you were facing in vulnerability management program prior implementing Vulcan solutions, and then we'll talk about the remediation processes and highlights that you have achieved using Vulcan Cyber platform. So yeah, sounds good. Let's get started. All right, so let's switch sides. So let's start with your background. So if you could tell us more about yourself and about Paystack company. And I don't see the slide, so I don't know if it's okay. Okay, all right.
Cool. Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Jocelyn from Paystack. Paystack is a small but very powerful fintech that facilitates payments throughout Africa for quite a few countries. Reason that I state that is because a lot of countries mean a lot of compliance and a lot of audits. But I've been in with Paystack for 3 years. I started off as just a developer with a computer science degree background, and slowly have moved into the security engineering and vulnerability management role.
Perfect. All right. So let's go to the, if you could tell us a little bit about the, the pain points that you have in your vulnerability management program prior implementing Vulcan. What were the challenges that you were facing? What was the day-to-day processes that you had to deal with that eventually lead you to choosing, a tool for improving those challenges?
Yeah, very easy. So at Paystack, we're a very small team. We're about 250 people for the entire company. I was just hearing Samira say she has 800 engineers, and that sounds like a dream. So we have a tiny little team here for the security members. So we all wear a lot of hats. We do a lot of features. We don't just do remediations or just do vulnerability management. So on top of that, we also manage all our scanners. There's the cloud, there's SAST, there's DAST, there's SCA.
Right.
Tons of vulnerabilities are coming in from many sources. And we had to aggregate those manually in spreadsheets, try to categorize them, try to adjust the risk rating that is applied to each scanner's findings, because obviously something in an internal, maybe not so important product might not be prioritized as much by us as that scanner thinks it should be. So that was a lot of work, and we realized we had to get a tool to centralize all these findings in order to even be able to do any other job.
Yeah, that sounds harsh. So that leads me, I know that you have an interesting story on how did you hear about Vulcan Cyber? So if you could tell us, and then also why did you detect our tool eventually?
Yeah. So my colleague Temi, he keeps his ear to the ground on any kind of new startups or anyone interesting in the cybersecurity field. And he knew about Vulcan, I don't know, like probably 3 years ago or so. And so he said, yeah, let's have a look at them. We had a look at you guys, and unfortunately there weren't enough connectors built for us already for the tools that we were using. And like I said, we're a tiny team, so we couldn't really wait around or try to use the kind of build it yourself connecting options. So we continued our search, going through other vendors, and the search went over a year, in all honesty, and we ended up coming back to Vulcan. And by then, you guys had actually built some of the connectors that we were missing, and
Perfect, yeah.
it ended up working out really well for us. Yeah.
All right. That's good to hear, and I will thank Idemi by myself. All right. So let's go now. Let's start about the solutions and the processes that you have implemented inside Vulcan. If you could tell us how the risk prioritization process looks like as of today, and also the orchestration processes and the remediation processes that you are doing using our platform without the Excel sheets, without the need to manually calculate the risk, anything that could be relevant here.
Yeah, so Vulcan has kind of become our central hub for security. And we no longer have any Excel sheets, which is awesome. In fact, there's a link to it that says now in Vulcan, which is wonderful.
Perfect.
So yeah, we have created Vulcan has these really nice features, obviously, as you know, with assets and tags, and there's a really fine-grained way to kind of group all your infrastructure, your products, your different repositories, even anything that you want to scan. It's grouped really nicely, and you can tag it with different levels of maybe even prioritization levels, where the findings come from. I, in particular, love the penetration testing aspect, where I can actually tag everything that comes from a pen test report. So that's how we kind of have organized all our assets. And from there, based on those tags and groupings, we will triage vulnerabilities. So if they're in an important group, if they're in a very public group, anything that's maybe incredibly exploitable or severe, or maybe has payments related information or private personal information, those will get treated with a higher priority. And that's using kind of like a priority risk calculation that we can put on our assets, and it will artificially inflate the rating outside of the actual scanner's findings. So that's how we kind of gotten into our risk prioritization. From there, that has obviously made it a much smaller group of findings that are urgently, in need of remediation. So from there, we can actually just select them all, make the JIRA tickets, and send them off to our engineers. And it's a much smaller amount for them, so they hate it a lot less. But to speak to that, it's also created a lot of accountability for our engineering managers and product owners. They now have their own personalized dashboards where they can see which tickets are actually outstanding against their own product. And it's kind of become a bit of like a KPI for themselves, that they have to make sure that there are no criticals or highs or even specific mediums present in their dashboard, to the point that it could affect, even a product release or a patch update. So it's really helped a lot. Also just getting the word out there in your own engineering teams about the importance of security. Yeah.
Right. Perfect. All right. So if you could talk about the benefits or the main values that you're currently getting from Vulcan, like last year versus this year, right? What would you like to identify? What did you identify as the main benefits that that are helping you, in the vulnerability management program as of today, or in general that you're getting from our platform?
Oh, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of benefits. So like just to touch, I guess,
Yeah.
to touch on what I just said was accountability.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to what Dennis was saying, that's frenemies between engineering, compliance, security team for myself. So chasing people up on Slack, hey, has this been done? All of that. Now there's dashboards and there's accountability for things that are outstanding. And with that comes also enhanced visibility. So being able to drill down and also see the high picture, like the zoom out essentially of the risk posture of all our different architectural pieces, has been really amazing. There's a great like heat map actually in the dashboards that like shows the size, the color of each area. So it's nice and scary. That sounds terrible. But yeah, it's really, really helpful just to get an improved engagement. On top of that, it's cut down on my work hours significantly in that department. Like it's cut down probably at least 3 days worth of work into a couple hours when it comes to aggregating vulnerabilities and assigning them. So I have like honestly just a better quality of life.
I'm so glad to hear that. Perfect. Okay. Okay, before we wrap up this session, and this is the same question that Noy asked Samira as well, what's coming us for the next month, for the next year? How do you see, what are the projects that you would like to implement, or in general, generally speaking, what are the abilities that you would like to get from Vulcan in order to achieve your goals in the future?
Yeah, so coming up, we want to onboard our lead engineers onto the platform so that they have their own private dashboard, so they can also have a bit more ownership. Giving product and managers access is great, but it's the lead engineers that will end up going to actually do the work and delegate it on a more fine-grained level. So we want to give them access and try to give, like, almost filter it down even lower, pretty much the visibility of the vulnerabilities. And additionally, there's the automations feature in Vulcan. I am very scared to automate anything from Vulcan that's tied to vulnerabilities and findings, in case I end up spamming a Jira board aggressively and having a very angry manager come at me. So I'm hoping to kind of start to go down that road as well, now that I have a much better understanding of my environment. And then next would be analytics. Kind of like, now that we have the data, and we can see things, now it's time to maybe start using the aggregation of that data. In particular, things like making sure that our secure coding training is targeting our actual common vulnerabilities. Yeah, pretty much if we're taking it to the next step. So I always say we're at our infancy stage a bit. We're just starting to walk in security and Paystack, and now we want to start running.
All right, yeah, that sounds good to me, and I will, this is on my to-do list with the meeting cadences with you. All right, so I think that's it. Thank you, Jocelyn, again.